2. Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in the armpit of the San Gabriel Valley. That guy out there is
Rick Levy in the San Pasquale Valley.
There you go. Rick, by the way, Rick, Happy New Year. I know it's a
Happy New Year. It's been a while.
It's been a while. You know, Rick's been doing a lot of remodeling, and things have been under construction, and
yeah.
So
my library has turned into a workshop.
Yeah, well, that happens. At least you have a library. I have I have boxes in the living room. Rick and I have this distinct pleasure of tasting and dissecting a brand new tequila that launched spring of last year. Not sure if anybody's seen it. It was primarily in Southern California. The PR people, they reached out to me and they said, hey, try this. We are going to dissect Otaca tequila. Alexa, stop. I'm working on my playing Mozart in the background. Otaca tequila stands for once tasted, always craved agave. Okay, so that's what Otaca means. And as usual, we're just going to pour the juice. We're going to taste it. Then we'll give you all the ins and outs, where it's coming from, who's making it, where you can find it, and what the known number of the distillery is. So, do you like the bottle, Rick? What do you think of the bottle?
It's cool. It's distinctive.
What do you think? Packaging right away? Brand promise and packaging. I kind of like it. I actually, once the cap comes off, once your cap comes off, it's got a really decent, hand feel, sort of. It's
interesting. It's all, it's a really heavy bottle.
Yes, it's substantial.
And, the glass is super clear, and all of the, it's basically everything that's going on is on top. And then the bottom leaves you to look at the clarity of the juice.
Yep.
But if it's kind of like a no pants bottle.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's what you only see us from the.
That's true. Yeah. We could be sitting here in our underwear, but no one would know. Isn't that how Zoom meetings go these days?
Right. All right.
So I poured mine into my Stasso Jarrito that I normally use for mezcal. Right. There's a reason for that. Oh, yeah, there was a pleasant smell on that.
Yeah,
I'm already surprised.
There's definitely some agave in there.
I do too. And you'll know why we are saying that once we give you the ins and outs of the stories. Did you christen your computer?
No.
It's bright. It's really bright. Wow. Okay. It's pristine. It's a Blanco. Now, right now, as far as I know, when the company, the publicist sent this to us, I think they only have a Blanco at this point. There we go.
So as we would expect from this distillery, it coats the glass.
Yeah.
Strong legs, slow to form.
Strong legs. I mean, it's visually stunning too. I mean, it's shiny. Yeah. As Alex would, and I will say, it's shiny. So, yeah, it's a visually very, very stunning to look at. Very bright. Okay. All righty. Definitely getting cooked agave.
Yeah, some great grassy notes too.
Yeah, and the alcohol just barely present at the bottom of the glass.
I'm using my Stasso Jarrito for tequila. Which one are you using?
I'm using the one for mezcal. I've got a little bit of their mouth. It's bright though. I mean, I'm getting some really good agave notes on this.
Yeah, it's like those Lowlands characteristics are really jumping out of the glass.
Yep.
It's quite bright, lovely.
Yeah. I mean, there's no citrus. There's nothing going on. I mean, are you getting any? I'm not getting any at all. Mostly, it's
I might, just maybe like a slight hint of citrus, lemon or lime. It's it's very grassy. That's what comes to mind.
yeah. And I mean, it is opening up, and I'm getting a little bit more. You know what? I'm getting more like a hint of grapefruit is what I got. Not lime, not
Maybe
lemon,
that's
but
it.
grapefruit. Yeah, and I'm getting it on this side here. So it is evolving. It is opening up because it's definitely agave forward right off the top.
Yeah.
I mean, these bottles, Rick, he hasn't even opened his. We opened ours like off camera.
I had to dust it off before we started
from the
recording.
construction dust, right? And I had to find it because I've had it, since late fall, because it showed up after our Brands of Promise cutoff for 2021, and you can see all the Brands of Promise winners on the website. It's all there, the ballot. It's a record number, and 2022 looks to be even bigger. So I'm glad Rick's off the bench because he's got a full queue. Okay, this is really pleasant.
It is.
It's again, it's acting a little uncharacteristic for us, given what we know about this distillery. You want to dive in? Shall we?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Salud.
That was only the first pass. Really sweet on the entry for me, but that was my first pass. I haven't had anything except water today, so on my palate. I haven't even had my coffee yet. So
yeah, no, there's some definite sweetness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much, I would say, as others that we've had from this distillery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you say that sweetness could be entirely from baked agave?
Let's reveal a couple of things, okay, before we go into that. This is this distillery is known 1477. That is
Puerto de Hierro.
Yeah, well, Puerto de Hierro, but it's listed under Leticia Hermosillo Ravelero. That's the actual name, and that's the person who owns this the distillery. Such stellar brands come out of there as Cava de Oro, Mandala, which I've enjoyed. Otaca is there. Mañana is now being made there. Tinta Negra is another one that's brand new that I've been trying to get. Amatiteña, which we've not had, and Adictivo, which I think you and I have had.
Yeah. And Adictivo, the distiller is part of the family from that distillery, but it started at another distillery at another nome, but it was one of Leticia Hermosillo's sons, I believe. That was the master distiller for that.
Was it Hildardo Partida? One of the Partida brothers, I believe, is how it works. Anyway, so this distillery runs the gamut from heavy-handed on the additives to hardly any at all. If there are any on this, I mean, I like I said, my palate is clean. I just literally, full disclosure, I just brushed my teeth. Okay, so I've had nothing but toothpaste and water, and on the initial entry, it was very sweet, but it's not sweet on the nose. It was really agave forward. I mean, naturally agave forward. We've had some stuff that's over the top bad agave nose, and we can detect it. It's not hard to pick out. But this one was evolving. This one actually had a complex nose, and I rather enjoy that actually. There was grapefruit there. There was, you know, very, like Rick said, grassy notes, agave notes.
Yeah. We have had a number of tequilas from this distillery, and probably the majority of them run toward the sweeter side. And so I think it's just, you know, it's sort of like the distillery's preference, kind of. It's you know, it's like there are certain distilleries that have characteristics. Like there's a funk that we get from Confradia,
Right.
and
every tequila has it. It's right there.
With Puerto de Hierro, we you know, we can usually expect things to be a little bit sweeter.
And the sweetness now that I've had, this is like my third pass, didn't catch me initially on the front, on the tip of the tongue, but more to the rear of the palate. The normas say that you're not allowed to adulterate blancos with additives. On the other hand, many people in the industry say that that's not always the case, because it's an interpretation of the norma of the rules and regs.
Right.
And last year, Eric and I had a blanco, one of the ones that we tasted, where we didn't detect what that interesting flavor was until I did my acid test. You know, you leave your glass out overnight, you come back and smell it. There was coconut in the blanco. And you and I, you know, there was something there, because we had Los Sundays, and Los Sundays makes a good coconut infused tequila. That's what it says. So we had one of the best. And that one was really odd, because it was like, I couldn't pick it out. There was something weird. I thought it may be toasted almonds or, you know, whatever. Came back to it the next morning, and, you know, didn't wash my glassware, and there it was. It was coconut. So we know that that's what's going on in the industry. Is this a bad tequila? No. Now,
there's another tequila we reviewed from this distillery where we thought there was some unusual sweetness to it. And they got back to us and actually told us, what was it they said? That they had added a bit of like a Cristalino Añejo or something like that to this Blanco.
Well, why don't you just say that? Why don't you call it a Joven? Because remember, we had one of the best Jovens, 13 Colonias.
There's, you know, I think Jovens are fantastic. I love Jovens.
Yeah, I do too. But say so. Say that you're making a Joven, you know, or say that you made a Cristalino when you blended it, so it's a Joven Cristalino. Yeah. You know, we've had,
and there's this huge trend now with these, you know, Maestro Tequileros, Maestro Tequileras, where they're doing these incredible blends.
Yeah.
They're, you know, blending highlands and lowlands. They're blending anything that can be blended. They're blending it. They're messing with our minds.
Yeah, they're barrel blending, and, you know,
they're doing interesting stuff.
Yeah, we had some wonderful stuff. I think you and I do Mijenta? I think we did together. I don't think I've done that one. Okay, no, that was with Eric. But they did some, you know, Ana Maria Romero Mena is doing some wonderful things with barrel blending. Oh, excuse you.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna.
That's not the tequila.
Picking up where we left off, we were discussing the possibility that this particular distillery went a little bit heavy-handed, maybe on the glycerin. But Rick, tell the people watching us what happened with you. That it's not. What did you say exactly?
So when we went to take our first sip, I was expecting it to be a little heavier on the palate, a little bit thicker, maybe kind of creamy on the palate.
Yeah.
That's the experience I have when noticeable glycerin is added. And I was surprised to find that it was thinner than I was expecting, which was a pleasant surprise. So if they did create some extra sweetness by adding glycerin, I think they tried to use a light hand.
Yeah, because I can't detect it on the nose. The agave is natural. The alcohol is there. You know, the citrus notes, that happens naturally as well. Everything, if they're using it, they're using it really, really well. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, for this level of sweetness in a Blanco, I would have expected more of a buttery baked agave kind of.
Right, more of a creaminess at the end, and it's not.
And you would pick that up on the nose as well.
Yeah.
And we're not getting that on the nose.
No, it's still. But I will say that the bright green agave notes, the cooked notes, are still there even with this much left. And I haven't even refilled this. This is the same pour.
Yeah. But I like it. I'm not turned off by it. I would definitely, if you're, you know, for somebody looking for sweeter tequilas, I would definitely point them towards this.
Well, in that case, you know, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll give it a brand of promise nominee in that Blanco category. I tell you what, if the other tequila that I detected coconut in their Blanco had gone up against this one would win. Because it was something in that other Blanco that didn't add up. This one, you know, I'm getting like residual sweetness on the sides of my cheeks, on the sides of my tongue.
And we haven't talked about the pepper. I'm getting a really nice pepper effect as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably using really good agave. They're probably using 5-year, 6-year-old agave to start with. So this is not, you know, would you put it in a cocktail, Rick?
Sure.
There you go. I think I really do think it's gonna perform well in a kata, you know, in our year-end 2022 Brands of Promise. Will it get a medal? Who knows? It depends on the field. Last year was the biggest field we ever had just in the Blanco category. So there's no telling. We're headed in that direction again. So, but I think it's gonna. I'll give it a brand of promise. I don't have any pricing on it. You hadn't found any pricing on it, did you?
No.
We can give you some background information very quickly. The owners are out of Dana Point, California, and if you're familiar with Dana Point, it's a beautiful on the shores of Southern California. Founded by Anthony and Nicole Aceta, a husband and wife duo with a shared passion for entrepreneurship, artistry, and the endless pursuit of the ultimate sipping tequila. After years of researching and tasting the world's finest tequilas and traversing Mexico's most treasured agave plantations, the Dana Point duo embarked on a mission to create their own ultra premium tequila that would be once tried, always craved agave. Hence, Otaca. I can't read any more of this because we're already running out of time, and I can't read this without choking like Rick did. I'll be choking on the words. But that's our take on Otaca. It's a worthy, you know what? If you found it, if you're watching us on YouTube or maybe on Spotify, you know, or you're listening to us on Spotify podcast, if you found it, leave us a comment. Tell us what you're doing with it. Tell us how much you're paying for it, because I have no clue. But it's a substantial bottle. This is heavy, and it's a substantial Blanco. I'm still getting some residual. And that's got to be from the glycerin, and that's okay. That's allowed. Okay, glycerin is allowed. They may have gone a little heavy-handed on the glycerin, which makes it really shiny, you know. But hey, every distillery has their own recipe. But that's our take on Otaca. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is
Rick Levy, also in Southern California.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our platforms. Please follow us on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. Give us a like, because that helps us on the algorithm. Subscribe, unless you're, commitment phobe. But otherwise, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.